Your internet connection is unstable. So, oh, it's recording anyways. Well, let's do it. See how this goes. Okay, so I guess we'll just start it with your story quickly. Like when you started, how long you've been in the business, like what made you start really?
Okay, so I've been in the business for 4 years, and I started because I was pregnant with my middle, so my second at the time, and I was running a home daycare, and it was all great, but I was like, okay, I can't run a home daycare with a newborn and a toddler, and I wasn't really enjoying it fully. So I just started looking online for every opportunity, sending my email out to everything that I came across. And then I heard about It Works in December, and it took me 2.5 months to join. So one of the things I like to talk about my story is like I was coming up with the worst potential distributor out there because I you did just potential people do. I ignored and I asked questions and I ignored and I asked questions and I told her every weekend I was going to sign up because again, and people will say like, oh, I can sign up on Friday when I've got more time, and it only takes 5 minutes. But when you're on the other end, you don't know how quick it is and how easy it is. So I'd always say I'll sign on the weekend because I've got more time then. She'd follow up with me on the weekend, and I wouldn't reply. So Friday she'd follow up with me. I'm so excited to get you started. I wouldn't reply. Then she'd be like, hey, and I'd be like, I don't know why she keeps saying hi to me. Like she said, I remember standing right beside my fridge one time, looking at my phone and being like, she said hi to me 7 times so far, and I haven't even said hi to her. Why does she keep talking to me? And I'm so grateful and so thankful that she never stopped following up on me with me, because if she would have stopped following up with me, I might not be here today. And I don't want to think about what my life would look like without this business, because for the last 4 years, so I started my home daycare. I was working it while I started the business. So I started in February, and by June of that year, I shut down my business, or shut down like my daycare business. And then in September of that year, I became a diamond leader. And then that's where I just sort of took off, and I haven't looked back since. And since then, It Works has been paying my bills. So it's just been an incredible opportunity. I've learned so much along the way. I've grown so much along the way. And, when you're in this business, you already got over yourself by saying yes to the opportunity. So as long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep moving forward, keep focusing on your dreams, being excited about your dreams. And one of the biggest things is being excited to grow. I think it just all, like the snowball effect, and it all starts to come together. And I always like to say, I didn't know how I was going to get here. I didn't know how I was going to become a diamond and a double and a triple and now presidential. And I don't know how I'm going ambassador. But what I do know is that I'm excited for it. I'm positive on it. I know that that's where I'm going. And I just simply work towards it every day.
That's amazing. So it doesn't matter where, if you don't know how you're going to get there, you're going to get there as long as you keep pushing. Okay, so basically the girls, I just reached out to them and was like, ask me whatever questions and then I'll ask you. Is that good with you? Oh, you're freezing kind of. What'd you say? Yeah?
Sorry.
Okay, so one of them asked, how do I get my warm market on board? Other than being like excited and posting about the products, like they are like feeling held back, that it's still like, the word we hate, pyramid scheme, scam. How do you go about doing this? Even though like they know they're doing it for their future. Does that make sense?
So actually, yeah, when I first started, my mom literally said to me, she was in Costa Rica at the time, and I just sort of did it. And it took me a week to post on my Facebook because I got over myself and I joined. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I can't post about this stuff on my Facebook. This is embarrassing. People are going to think I'm scamming them. People are going to think my Facebook was hacked. This isn't who I am. This isn't what I would do. So it took me another week to then get over myself. And my mom had got back from her vacation. She literally said the words of, this is probably something you just like get in and get out. And I literally was like, no, mom, people can make $10,000 a month with this. Like, I ain't going nowhere. And always going to remember that conversation because, she was part of my warm market, and I could have listened to her words. And especially as my mother, like, we look to our mothers and our parents and people that we love and love us for guidance on those things. But I knew that, sure, she's my mom, but she's still, and of course she was going to, step in and help pay for bills if needed. But at the end of the day, she can't, write my future on what I want to look at. So when you kind of say, like, how do you get your warm market on board? Sometimes they're not always on board. And even for Gabe, it took a long time for him to kind of realize what I was doing until the money started rolling. And until I was like, oh my gosh, I'm making, first it was like, oh my gosh, together we've made $3,000. And that was like, oh, he was like, what? You're doing this on your phone? And if it's warm market who's wanting to get the product, of course, my mom and my dad supported me in the products. They signed up to be those loyal customers to help me get that $100. Back then it was $120 on few product. And that's what I worked towards, and they supported me in it. But I just keep going because, like at the end of the day, we are the ones that are responsible for our bills. We are the ones that are responsible for our future. And the more and more you fall in love with the products and the business opportunity, if people really love you, they're going to be inspired by you, and they're going to just support you. Even if they don't buy, even if they don't join, they're just going to support you by saying kind words or, wow, it's so cool that you're doing this, or this is so awesome. To be honest, my best friend since grade 5 has never bought product from me. She's always said, oh yeah, I'll get some product, but she's never bought product from me. I had a few friends of mine join me and fall off. And then another good friend of mine that I've been friends with since grade 7 has never bought product from me. So it really comes down to, some of my warm market has never jumped on board, but it doesn't matter. And they'll always joke to me about it, like, oh yeah, that business you do, or oh yeah, you should probably go and get a real job. And I'm like, I got the real job. You're the one living the joke because you're going out and, staying at your job 5 times a week, and I'm hanging with my kids. And one of my girlfriends is having a baby. And she kind of joked. She's like, yeah, and you'll probably tell me I can stay at home, work from home. She's like, it's just not for me though. And I think it just comes down to people are scared. People are nervous to just do something different. But that you for yourself. So just continue to kind of be that inspiration in those people that are kind of still skeptical about it. I hope that kind of covers it.
Yeah, no, that was perfect. Okay, so another one says, I can't message 100 to 200 people a day. What are some suggestions to growing your business? Like these girls that are, still working full-time jobs, what are some income producing activities that they can do that would really help get their business going?
So when I first started, it really comes down to kind of just finding, those few minutes here. So I look at it like if I can do 10 minutes of messaging, I usually get about 30 messages out in 10 minutes. So if I can just break it down, sometimes I will look at a power hour every night. So I might do that power hour of messaging, the 100 people right there. And I've done it before. It's a little harder because usually if you message that many people, you will get an Instagram jail, and that sucks. But I find it just comes down to it. So my focus is like when I was still working my full-time job and doing this business, it just came down to, when I had my breaks of the kids napping, and that's when I would work. They would go home at 5 o'clock, and then I would, get my kids, Isaac dinner, and then I would work my business when he went to bed. I would get up before he would get up so that I could get in some work in that time. And then also on weekends and stuff, I would just sort of, before, and I still do it now because when my kids are strapped in, it's the perfect time to get something quickly in. But running errands on the weekend when I was working full time, I would, before driving off, I would make a post and then I get back in the car, I get in the car, do my thing, make a post, go run my errand, get back in the car, message a few people. Sometimes I always say, when you're cooking dinner, sometimes you've got a few minutes and you're waiting for water to boil, or you're waiting for something to bake in the oven, kind of taking those few minutes here and there and just sort of realizing, because I feel like we have a lot more time than we think we do when we kind of break it down to these minutes, these 2 minutes, these 2 minutes. And another good thing is, if you have that hour and you're sitting down, make a few posts then, grab a few pictures that you're going to use for those posts, write them in your notes so that when you've got those 2 minutes here and there, you're able to then quickly post and you're not using that 10 minutes when you only have those 2 minutes. But even, getting out 5 messages every now and then, it's going to result in the bigger one. And I just feel like it's really just sort of breaking it down and finding those few minutes here and few minutes there.
That's That's what I do too. I'll like go to the bathroom and I find myself I'm on the toilet for like 25 minutes, just like hiding in there trying to message. Because we have so much more time than we actually think we do, right? Like literally when something's like frying in the frying pan and Blair's like in her jolly jumper or something, like I'm trying to message, I'm trying to add, I'm trying to post. Like it's hard whether we're mothers or we work a full-time job. We still are, if you want it, you will find those 5 minutes that you have free and like make them income producing activities.
Right. And that's the thing too, right? Like if you could we always say like, if I could win the lottery, you have the chance in your hands to win the lottery of $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, unlimited $100,000 a single month in your income. And that's what you could be making. So when you look at it like that and really understand what you have your hands on, finding those 2 minutes and 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there, it's going to make all the difference in your future, right? So this time is going to pass us by anyways. So why not use it and make a difference in your future?
So true. Okay. So what are your following up techniques? So like, let's say not like they give you a date and you're following up with them. You're talking to them. They're like so into it. And then they just stop messaging you. And then you message them again and you don't hear from them. What are like your go-tos with that?
So recently, I've just been, with the Facebook, I love the GIFs. I think it's funny, or the voice clips are funny. And just like, even with the GIFs, like, hey, where are you? Or, hey, it's me. Like just something funny to kind of get them going. I have one girl right now that messaged me and was like, I used to be a customer. I'm really interested in product and in the business. I've been watching you. And for the last like 2 months fell off the earth. Then she messaged me yesterday and was just like, hey, sorry, I've been through a rough time. And then again, fell off the earth and I haven't heard back from her. But I just sort of constantly I'll message, hey, like, how's your weekend going? Sometimes I'll comment on their pictures because then that's interacting. One time I literally was like, I see you posting. I did it on her picture and I was like, I see you posting and I've messaged you. Why are you ignoring me? And she literally, because it had been like 3 months and I could see her posting, I see her watching my stories. Like, why are you ignoring me? I can see what you're doing. And she literally messaged me right away and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like I missed my messages. I was like, well, I text you too. And she's like, yeah, my phone's been all weird. I mean, it's probably making excuses, but it's just, being funny about it, not making it feel so awkward, but just kind of being funny. So again, commenting on their pictures, because usually if you comment on their picture, especially on Facebook, people are like, feel and like they have to reply to that because it's public, right? And if there's not that interaction going on, then they kind of seem like they're rude by not replying back. So then that's a perfect way. And then you could just be like, hey, I've messaged you, check your inbox after you kind of have that little talk on their post. And then liking, commenting, watching their stories, commenting on their stories, because when you comment on their stories, it goes right to their inbox. So usually if you've asked a question on their story, then they'll reply back to it. And I just sort of have, I've got my list of like potentials with dates and I write them beside them. And then I've got my potentials who are just sort of like not replying, kind of replying. And I kind of focus on building those relationships with them as well.
Sorry, I just keep having pop-ups. And I find too, like blowing up their Facebook wall, like, or their Instagram wall, right? So if they aren't replying to you, like just go and like their stuff, comment on their stuff. And as you said, it's public. So they feel like they have to respond. And I don't know, I've been getting a lot more luck with that. Like just, keep interacting with them and showing you care. Don't just like, talk to them about the business and then don't talk to them for 3 months and then just keep messaging them, right? Like show them that you care and make a relationship with them.
Yeah, it makes such a big difference because then they're like, oh, okay, she's not just interested, in getting me signed up, like she's actually interested. One of the girls that I've been talking to, that the one I just mentioned who, she messaged me months ago and was all interested and ready to go. She's actually in one of my mom groups too. So every post she's been commenting, I've been replying, like every post she's been making in there, I'm replying back to them. And it's just another funny one, right? Like you're ignoring my messages, yet I'm commenting on the post that you're making in our mom's group. Like I can see you. But yeah, like I said earlier, like I was that worst potential distributor and I needed that time of follow-up. And even though she said hi to me, like it was literally like hi, 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 hi. I don't recommend doing that. Like, change up your messages of what you're going to send. But it was literally like 7 messages of hi, 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 hi. I was like, why is she messaging me? But I never deleted her. And eventually I did join.
Well, and that comes back to, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Like if it's
exactly.
in their
Even though she said hi. I
head.
was the right person, so it didn't matter what she said.
Exactly. So people talk about, so what'd you say? People talk about following, liking, commenting on photos for people who they think would be like a good potential loyal or potential distributor. How do you stay organized when you're adding so many people to your network? Like, are you like a paper girl? Do you like keep it all on your computer? Do you do both? And like, how do you keep up on building those relationships?
So I do the paper. I've got like a notebook and I just kind of write it down. Another good way that I just have heard about, if I can think about it as I'm on here, a few ways that I said, someone had mentioned on Instagram, you can actually kind of save it to your collections. So I've been trying to utilize that, but it's hard when you're used to one thing to kind of get in the habit of another one. But when you're on Instagram and you're looking at a picture, so to the right of the picture, right underneath it, it's like almost like that little flag thing. And if you click that flag thing, it will save that photo. And then when you go to your home page and click that flag thing to the right, like it's like right at the top, like right above your pictures, there's the line of like the dots, and then there's the 3 dots with the lines across your profile picture, pictures of people that have tagged you in pictures there. And then the next one is what the little flag thing. And then when you click on it, it will show you all of the pictures that you've saved. And then if you go to, I think it's collections, you can actually create different groups for it. So when you go to collections from there, you can click the plus sign, and then you can literally add in like potential distributors. So then you say you did like, PDTs, and then you saved it. You click next, and then you go into those pictures that are saved, and you can click and select and literally put them in a list that way. Are you doing it right now? Am I making sense?
No, you're making sense. I do the exact same thing. So what I do.
Oh, you do that.
Yeah. So instead of for customers, I just do it directly for distributors, but I do it through months. So like I start in February. So I have February, March, April, and I'm following up with those people like every couple of days, like going and interacting on their like profiles. And if they're people that I've been talking to, for a month or two, and I know that they'd be good at the business. So I literally add them as I like, because my profile is on private. So as I go to accept their request, if I like look at their profile and I'm like, damn, this girl's going to be like a freaking rock star at this. Like she knows how to edit her photos, she uses the white border and stuff like that. Like I'll add them directly to the collections and then start building that relationship.
Yeah, I love that. It seems really neat. And like I said, I haven't used it because I'm so used to my paperwork. But I feel like it's definitely something that's nice, and then it's always on you, right? Like, it's the simple go-to.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's so easy to keep track of people that way. I'm not a paper person. If you look at my desk, I have like notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of people's names, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, what are these names written down here for? Like, I'm so disorganized at that. So the collections definitely helped.
Yeah, it seems pretty.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
Okay. So what are some posts that you would suggest if you're starting out the business, and you haven't made much money, I feel like it's hard because some people compare it to like, top income earners or like leaders and stuff, and they all have kids and they're looking at them. They're like, what do I post about? Like, I don't have kids. I don't have it rough. I'm joining just for the extra couple $100. Like, what do you post that way so it doesn't sound salesy? Because you don't want to post like, join my team and like make $200 a month, right? Like you want it to sound personal. So
yeah, so I always focus on where are you going. And I always say that when I make my videos, even if you're not there, talk about where you're going. And when I first started out this business, obviously I had to do the exact same thing. thing. So I focused on that diamond, and I talked about, I'm making my diamond team. A diamond makes an average on, $2,000 a month. Do you want to be part of my diamond team? Oh my goodness, I just filled up a diamond team. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to not wake up to alarms anymore. I would take a picture of me and Isaac snuggling in bed and being like, I can't wait to this just to be our morning, and we don't have to worry about getting up and going and answering the door at 7 o'clock in the morning. Being excited, being positive. People are attracted to people who know where they're going. So when you literally just talk about what is this business going to do for you, if you join for an extra couple $100, that's amazing, because people can connect to that. People have a hard time wrapping their head around, hey, I make $34,000 a month, or hey, I'm making $10,000 a month. They're like, yeah, that's a scam. I don't believe that. But when you can hold up a Blitz card and say, oh my goodness, It Works just paid for my gas. It Works just paid for diapers. It Works just paid for date night. It Works just helped pick up some groceries. People can connect to that, because majority of people are just looking for that extra $500 to make it through the month. They're not looking to, make all the money. They just want to make, hit the end of the month and not feel like, oh my goodness, we're out of money and we still have a month left. They want to make that extra $500 to get through the month. So just posting little stuff like that. If It Works hasn't paid for your groceries yet, hasn't paid for date night yet, I'm so excited for It Works to pay for my groceries. I'm so excited for It Works to pay for my date night, because I'm in this business. You don't always have to be focusing on exactly what it's doing now, but where you're going with it. And I shared in my video the other day, the felt, found, and feel. So when you're sharing your post, you're going to share about how you felt. And again, if you only joined, like one of our uplines, her sister was making like $6,000 a month. Like, she felt content in her life, but she was becoming a mom. She was missing out on being on all of those moments. And even though they were making great money, she was still missing those moments, and she wanted to be home. So, you could still be in a good spot and then be like, well, why am I doing this business? But there's people out there in the same position as you, right? So when you share how you felt before you found this business, then you found a solution. So maybe and I feel like even as moms, sometimes moms just join because they want more for themselves. They're already a stay-at-home mom. Maybe their partner makes good money already, but that mom that's staying at home feels like she's missing something. She wants to contribute to her family. So then she felt, she found that solution to it, and now how you're feeling. So I feel like those are 3 really good words to stick to when you're like, what do I post about? How do I post about it? Just sharing those 3 simple words and kind of branching off of that is a great way to start.
There we go. I think that's great too, because putting your goals out there so people can hear them. As you said, like, people like want to see where you're going with it. Saying that you're building your diamond team, even if, you have 2 people on your team, just like keep going for it and keep telling people where you're going with this business. And even when I started, like, I was running for my $10,000 bonus and I didn't get it. But I still had people coming to me, right? So putting your goals out there is so big, and it's scary, but you need, like, if you're not scared, you're not going to grow, right? You guys have to step out of your comfort zone with it. And it is scary, believe me. Taylor and I can both agree. It's so scary, but you got to do it.
And another thing is, remember that you've got your It Works family behind your back no matter what. So I think that's a powerful thing to know too. In your 9-to-5 life, people support you like they do in this business. Like, no one's like, yeah, you got this. I believe in you. I know you can do this, and pouring all of their energy into you. And in the 9-to-5, you just don't have that. So I love that even though you're scared and you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, that there is also, all of us that are doing the exact same thing as well.
Perfect. So I think okay, so what is so you work Facebook more, right?
Instagram.
Oh, you work Instagram. I didn't even know. So me too. What's your way with getting your distributors and loyal customers? Like, are you building the relationship? Oh, your meeting will end in 10 minutes. Oh, wow, that was quick. Anyways.
Yeah, it's 40 minutes. We're good.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll get through this quick. So how do you build your those connections with your potential LCs, DTs? Yeah, that's that question.
So I literally just go through my followers list and I message people. I message like a quick, like, hey, let me see if I can pull that up. Also, I say, hey, babe, but you know, you have to say whatever connects to you. Sometimes I'll edit the message before I send it to match the profile as well. But I literally just go right down and send out a list asking people if they'd be interested to be a product model. And then when they say, yeah, I want more information, I list 3 different products. So I list the greens, the cleanse, and hair, skin, and nails. And then I also list, or I have an open spot for work from home. Which are you interested in most? And I think I got that from Stephanie Dunn, so that's what she says in hers. So then I added that in, and then they'll answer whatever they believe in. My biggest thing is then also on my Instagram, when I'm cleaning or when I'm showering or when I'm playing with the kids, I literally, sometimes it doesn't always let my phone just run, but if you click on the stories and just leave your phone, it just kind of goes through those stories. So it gives people the impression that you're watching their stories. So I find it's the perfect way to be working but not working at the same time. So again, sometimes my phone will shut off, but sometimes like for 10 minutes, it will just run through the stories once I've clicked opening on them. So that's a helping way to build relationships. Then I like to obviously I go down my newsfeed and I like and I comment. So I'll click on a profile. I try and do the 3 rule. So I will like 3 pictures, comment on 3 pictures, so that in their newsfeed, when they go on their page, I'm showing up 6 times and they're like, who's this person? So that usually then brings people back to my page. And then that's pretty much, I'm constantly posting my stories as much as I can. Sometimes I have 6 stories, sometimes I have like 20 stories, depending on what we do that day. But even when I like to say, you know, I obviously mix in business and my regular everyday life, because people don't just want to follow a business page. They want to know who you are, people by people. So the more you even show pictures, like I show pictures of sleeping in today, or I show pictures of what we did for a craft or whatever it may be, every time they're seeing your pictures, it's a reminder of what you have to offer them. And that's pretty much just what I do.
So do you, am I muted? Yeah. Do you, like build like a relationship with them before you're messaging them? Or are you just going into your followers and like, let's say if you've only liked 2 of their photos, like right then, are you still sending that message?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I literally like for my messaging, like when I'm like, sorry?
Because you're planting that seed, right? Whether they message you right back or they don't answer you, but you're still planting that seed for later on.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. Sometimes people will message me 2 months later and they'll be like, oh, I just this message. Sorry, like, I'm still interested. Do you have open? And I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, again, like, and a lot of the times when I message someone, they'll start talking to me and they'll be like, oh, well, actually, I just looked on your page and I'm really interested in the cleanse. Actually, can you tell me more about that? Even though I've messaged them first. And again, like people are going to ignore you. People might not respond to you. But if you're noticing those numbers of who's not responding to and who's not messaging you back, you're not messaging enough people. You're not getting yourself out there. And in my business, like I like to be talking to people. It feels good to be messaging people and having my phone blow up. And it doesn't always happen when people are messaging me that way. So I always have to be out there. And I know we have our hands on life-changing products. They've helped me lose 32 pounds so far from my last baby. And they've obviously changed my life in the business-wise as well. So I love to be able to share that with others.
Yeah, you've lost so much weight. It's amazing. Okay, so we have 5 minutes left. So do you have a 6 list? And if you do, what is it? So if you guys don't know what a 6 list is, it's like 6 things, like some people have more, that you do each day. No matter what, like you don't let yourself go to bed before you do these things.
So actually I don't really have one. I think you might have, someone had just told me about this and I guess it was, so another leader had said their 6 list. But I just feel like because I've been in for 4 years, I feel like it's just a habit now of what I do. Like my goal is always to get 100 new messages out. I want to reach that because I know if I can get new people out, like usually when I get 100 messages out, I know I'm going to be able to sign people from that. And I like to be able to sign people, obviously. So then I'm focusing on that. I'm always posting on my Facebook. I'm always posting on my stories. I'm always, I've been known to be like the following queen because I just love to like, even though it's timing, I know that in following, I'm growing my network, so I love to do that. And I think that's probably my biggest, I mean, that's pretty much what I do, right? Do you have a success list?
It's different every day. Like usually I make it the day before I go to bed, or like the day night before, so I know what I'm doing the next day. Like messaging, following, obviously posting. And some days I don't get to post like an actual post, especially face or Instagram, because you want those quality photos, right? But you want your stories, like I always want my story to like blow up. Like, and I at least try to have a poll on my story at least once a day, whether it's like business or product related, or it could just be like a random poll, like, do you like cats or dogs more, right? But it's getting that interaction.
Yeah, and I think like especially with the stories, like I love the stories because you can blow it up into 20 posts and people aren't like, oh my goodness, there's so many stories, because people just love to just go through it. It's fun. It's exciting to watch people's days. People like that kind of stuff. So when you can post literally from what you've eaten to what you're wearing, like yesterday I just I was like, people are asking me what I'm wearing, and I just wanted to hop in here really quick, and I had like tights and a shirt on, but I was like, yeah, these are my tights and this is my shirt, and I like layer, and just sort of talking and interacting, people start to, you know, love who you are. So when you just sort of share that, or when you hop on if you're a mom and you talk about mom life, like I just made a post earlier before getting on here, and I was like talking about, it was really just my kids took a skipping rope and they tie their skipping ropes in these crazy knots all over the house, and I made a post about that. But people can connect to those things because, you know, it's kid life, things happen like that. So again, just use your stories as much as you can, because people are just loving them, and it's the perfect way to get yourself out there and get your personal life and business and polls like you mentioned, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's so great. We actually covered everything, so still with 2 minutes and 35 seconds to spare. Does anyone have any questions they want to put in the chat quickly? We'll see. I don't even know how to bring up chat on this. How do I bring up the chat? Or can you see it? Oh, right there. It says chat. Anyone? Last call? Okay.
It's
well,
okay.
thanks for coming. Thanks for hopping on with us.
I'd be like, no, I'm not asking questions. No problem. And again, like if you guys have any questions or want to message me personally, like feel free to do so. I'm totally here to help support you, cheer you on, and teach you everything that I know.
Perfect. Okay. Have a good night, girl.
Bye, guys.